Welcome to my channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. When you get injured on the job in your maritime industry, you have rights. You have right to compensation to cover associated costs, and you have right to sue for your employer if you are being denied that compensation. The maritime laws are there to protect you and the people who depend on you, but it can be complicated. There are time limits on when you can file a claim or start a lawsuit. Knowing which laws applies to you and what the statute of limitation is, how to file a claim and what to do next is not always obvious. An experienced maritime lawyer is the professional you need to make sure you take all the right steps to get your money. One of the most important mistakes you want to avoid is being too late to file a claim. Each law has its own statute of limitation, so when you get injured on the job, you or your representative must act quickly to ensure you don't miss out on your benefits. The Jones Act. The Jones Act is federal maritime law that allows seamen to sue or file a claim against an employer when the employer's negligence contributed to an accident with an injury or death. If you are qualified as a seaman, have been hurt on the job, and can show that your employer's failure to act in some way contributed to that injury, you can file a claim under this law. But there are limitations. The statute of limitation for the Jones Act is pretty reasonable, so there's no excuses not to file a claim during this time period. You have 3 years from the time of the accident that caused your injury or illness to file a claim or start a lawsuit. There are some exceptions. For instance, if an accident triggered an injury or illness, but symptoms do not become evident until later, you have 3 years from the time of the onset of symptoms to file, not from the time of the accident. And then the Longshore and Harbor Workers Compensation Act. The Longshore and Harbor Workers Compensation Act, or LHWCA, is a federal workers' compensation program that applies to many maritime workers not qualified under the Jones Act. Unlike that law, you don't have to prove any negligence to get benefit under the LHWCA, but you do have to qualify as a shoreman or a harbor workers to apply for those benefits. The statute of limitation on this law is 1 year after the time at which you discovered an injury that was caused by your job, or were diagnosed with an illness found to have been caused by your job. If your employer has already started paying for your medical expenses and other costs, your time limit begins as soon as those payments cease, and it extends to 3 years if your employer refuses to pay your benefits. And then the next, the Death on the High Seas Act, or DOHSA. The Death on the High Seas Act is a federal law that covers expenses for seamen who have died while on the job and out of sea. The compensation from this law goes to the dependent members of the deceased family, usually the widowed spouse and any children. The law also applies to aviation accident that occurs 12 or more nautical miles from the U.S. coast. As with the Jones Act, there is a 3 years time limit on filing a claim under the Death on the High Seas Act. Time is needed to investigate the fatality and to calculate the compensation owed to the family. And then the next is the Outer Continental Self-Land Act. The Outer Continental Self-Land Act has many purposes, but for workers on a platform and rigs and other semi-permanent or permanent structures in offshore areas. It acts like a workers' compensation program for on-the-job injuries and illness. If you work offshore, you can file a claim under this law to get benefits. It was extended to cover workers like you who were previously not covered under the Jones Act or LHWCA. The limitation on filing under this law depend on the location. You may have between 2, 3, or 4 years to apply depending on which state cost was nearest to where you work and were injured. And then the next is maintenance and cure. Maintenance and cure is an old maritime law. It provides a seaman with the right to maintenance or living expenses and cure or medical expenses while injured and unable to work. The law is based on the fact that seamen when on the job have their living and medical expenses covered by their employer. If you cannot work because of an injury, you are still entitled to that coverage. The statute of limitations on maintenance and cure is not set in stone. Typically, a period of 3 years is all you have to file, but that can be extended if you can prove there was a good reason for the delay. And then the next is the doctrine of unseaworthiness. The doctrine of unseaworthiness falls under general maritime law and applies to any situation in which a worker can prove that the vessels on which he worked was unseaworthy. This is a broad claim and can mean anything from a ship that leaks to a ship staffed by untrained workers. The limitation on filing a claim under this part of the law is 3 years. And then the next discussion is about getting help from a maritime lawyer. As you can see, there are many laws under which you may be able to file a claim and many different rules to follow under those various laws. The best thing you can do if you are injured on the job is to hire an experienced maritime lawyer and do so quickly. To ensure you do not miss out on your benefits, be sure you find a lawyer to help you as soon as after you experience an injury or illness as is possible. If you wait too long, you may miss your window opportunity and never be able to file that claim, that start that lawsuit and get the money you are owed. I think that's all, guys, the information that I can share to you. I hope this will be useful. And if you need information about maritime law or any information about maritime topics, you are in the right channel, because in this channel we talk about it a lot. And if you guys need us to talk about or discuss about the information that maybe you need about maritime topic, you can just drop your comment in the comment section, and later when we have a chance we will talk about it, guys. Do the same thing if you have a question. You can also drop your question in the comment section below, and later when we have the answer and we have the time, we will answer your question too. And don't forget to share this information to your friends and family and also your loved one. Maybe they need information about maritime topics or maritime law like this one. Maybe they need information about the Jones Act or about LHWCA or about Death on a High Seas Act. When you share this video to them, it means you already help them to get through their problems. And I think that's all the information that I can share. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you can take advantage from the video that I've shared to you, and I hope you like the way I explain the information to you guys. And yeah, I think that's all that I can say to you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this will be useful for you guys, and don't forget to give like, comment and subscribe to this channel. Bye bye, see you in another video.